Hey, have you ever wondered how the economy will affect your property purchase? Well, here we go. Hey, it's GillT, all about Cape Town, all about property, all about South Africa. And today we're talking to you about that, exactly that. How will the economy affect your property purchase? I did have a request with regards to making a video about how to choose your tenant and what to do about renting and that sort of thing. That video is coming soon, so keep your eye open for that. That's going to be around. I will make one for you. So let's get to it. Let's talk about this. So yeah, it's a question quite often asked. And morning coffee, there we go. I mean, how will the economy affect your property purchase, and will it affect you, and will the economy affect you? So the answer to those questions is obviously the economy will always affect you one way or another. But let's be perfectly honest, okay? If you're in an economy, and we're going to use South Africa as an example because quite a few people have noted that South Africa's in a kind of bad way, the economy's bad. A lot of people have got a lot of negative connotations towards this country with regards to crime, economy, and all the rest of it. And everybody seems to think we're living in a total disaster here. Well, not quite, but we're not quite there yet. But yes, it isn't the best economy in the world, and it does fall into the top 50 worst ones or something to that effect. And, how does that affect your life? How does that affect your lifestyle as such? Well, if you were working for a company and 20 years ago you were earning a salary, and you're working for that same company 20 years later earning a similar salary, you would be far worse off. And it's effectively quite simple, because if you look at what you were earning then, you can effectively add a zero to everything now for what you're paying, but you can't really add a zero to the salary, and it would appear. And people are not earning what they were, and they're not earning what they should. But for the self-employed and for the wealthier, it's been a lot easier, because those types of people have kind of lived on a brokerage system or a commission system. Basically, what that means is I buy something for a price, I sell it for a price, and I make a profit on it. So if that makes sense to you, no matter what I paid for it, I'm still going to make the same percentage profit on it, because I'm always going to sell it for that profit margin. And I'm always going to have that profit, I'm going to have that in my pocket, so it's going to make me wealthier in the long run. So whether I was earning on that economy or whether I'm earning on that economy, I'm still earning. Where the economy is going to affect me in that scenario is maybe I'll sell less, because there's not enough people to purchase my product or enough money to purchase my product. So economies will affect you one way or another, but you can still survive based on that basis. Now, a similar principle will apply to any property that you've purchased. So for example, if you purchased a property back then, okay, and you sold it back then, you would have been on that level of property increase in value, okay? And if you sold it 20 years later, you just add a zero to the price effectively, and you'll sell it at that level. But now you've got to remember, replacement costs are replacement costs. So to replace it, it's going to cost you the same. So when you ask if you can make a profit on property, that's always difficult, because can you make a profit on your primary property? Basically not, because you need to replace it with something else. So it's a good investment, it's a good place to hold your money. And if you've got extra properties, it's always good, but then you've got to remember there's capital gains taxes and those types of things that come into play as well that you've got to pay. So you will be affected there. You'll have to pay the capital gains tax on any profits that you've made on second properties and properties that are not your primary property. So that becomes an issue for you over and above everything else. So normally what people do with properties to make a profit, if they're not flipping, is they buy the extra properties and they rent them out. They Airbnb them, or they rent them, or they short-term rental them, or that sort of thing. Not many people that I know will buy a property and just leave it there and hope for the best and maybe come back to it one day, except for those people that inherited lovely game farms, and there's loads of those people around for some odd reason that have always got a game farm to go to on the weekend. So yeah, that's lovely if you've got that. That's brilliant. Good for you. But those are the most high risk in a country like this, where they talk about land grabs and that sort of thing, whereas primary properties are not at risk. Those are protected 9 times out of 10 because it's people's homes, and they're in residential areas, which residential areas are meant to be kept residential areas. So while I say the economy can affect you, it won't really affect you in a big way if your money's in property, because if your money's in property, it's in property, and property moves with the economy. It kind of moves with the times, and to sell one and buy another, you're in the same market. Nothing's going to change, right? So you're not going to get swung out of a market. Whereas if you'd kept cash, so let's say you'd had R1 million 20 years ago. R1 million 20 years ago made you rich. You were really wealthy 20 years ago if you had R1 million. If you got R1 million today, it's worthless. It's absolutely worthless. To put it in perspective for you guys, it's probably like $70,000 or something like that overseas. So maybe that'll make sense to you. So, whereas back then it was $1 million, very much so, if not more. So, in that sense, if you'd kept cash, it would have become worthless. Now, a couple of guys have said, well, then why don't you put your money overseas, put it in a forex, okay, but choose your country carefully, because you don't know what's going to happen to those countries as well. Just because this country's done bad doesn't mean, or done better, doesn't mean that one's going to do well forever. Things might change. They might go into a war. I mean, for example, let's say you choose the American dollar. Let's say you choose America. Let's say you say, I'm going to put my money there because that's where my money's always been safest. Everyone's always told me that dollars, so I'm going to put my money in dollars. Okay? And tomorrow they start a war with China. What's going to happen to that dollar, right? What's going to go down? It's not going to be worth peanuts soon, because they'll be in a war. They'll be in a huge war. So it's going to affect it one way or another. Be careful of those scenarios. Don't think it's safer to put your money elsewhere because it's a big first world country. You never know what they're going to do and what they're going to do next. So that's why I always use the analogy of property. I use the analogy of assets. Assets hold value, and they hold better value than currencies. They hold better value than any currency in the world because economies crash. So yes, the economy will affect you, but it can affect you in a positive way in the property market, because you can actually make more out of it, and you can have more cash in your pocket when you really need to. So if you've got extra properties, you can sell them and liquefy and put some cash in your pocket and do something else if you need to, if you've lost your job or your business or whatever the case, and you can build another business, whatever the scenario. So with that, thanks for watching, and that's really important that you remember to like, comment, and subscribe. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the Facebook page, and follow me on Instagram. And don't forget, I sell property. Call me first. That's really important. And while you're here, go down, check out my new auto spares shop that's opening, and the link's down in the description box below. We're getting to that. That's coming up alongside this. And that's also going to be a bit of fun. And we'll have a YouTube channel for that as well. It's already on, but we haven't really started putting the videos out yet. Once those are out, you might enjoy those too. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, Rob GillT.